How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another post-commentary feature match here from Locals. This is round 4 from last week's tournament experience. I'm playing, of course, Block Dragon BA on the right, and my friend is playing a Striker Orcust on the left. So this matchup is going to be a bit, it's going to be different, probably in a way of like, things not going the right way, but still being able to make things work, I guess. So I'm going to be going first here after winning the dice roll. I get started with Gallus and mill into a Jackalope, and you can see I have to normal summon this Dotscaper. So basically what I was saying earlier is that I'm trying to make things work here with the absolute worst resources that I have available. Even just working with things like Gallus and Dotscaper. So I'm going to link those two into the Nightmare Cerberus. He will respond with the Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, of course. Not wanting to take any chances, getting his draws in where he can, even if it is just on the one Cerberus. And then I'll follow up by special summoning a Gigantes in my opening hand, and be able to link those three off into Curious. So finding a very odd way to get into Curious. Now, as most of you guys know, this deck does not start off its combos like this. Usually Cherubini and Dante lead the way, and whatever happens from there is pretty random. But I'm getting started with Curious, using its effect to dump Block Dragon, as I feel like that is the most needed extender at this point, of knowing 3 Sea Archiver, Mathman, and Gigantes. Funny story, that Sea Archiver actually wasn't supposed to be in my deck, looking back, after we reviewed this footage early on my stream. So if you guys want to get sneak peeks on like tournament reports and things like that, possibly reviewing some footage from Locals before they go up on YouTube, consider following me on Twitch. Link to that down in the description below. But the Sea Archiver that technically wasn't even supposed to be in my deck, making my deck 41 cards at this tournament, it's kind of helping me out here, so I can't complain. I do make a mistake here with the Destrudo. I remember to banish the Sea Archiver, but the Destrudo is supposed to go to the bottom of my deck before I search for the Block Dragon. So technically the Destrudo should be shuffled back into my deck at this point and have a possibility of drawing it. But I remember just to put it back there in the end. And that's just how that plays out. This was at the end of a tournament. I was a bit flustered to having to try to play through this really unfortunate hand that I've been drawing into. So I do apologize for that mistake. These things, of course, they do happen from time to time. Even though I've been playing this deck for like couple months now, it just, you know, every now and then you make a slight slip up. So seeing another Gallus here, milling a Block Dragon this time, which is very nice, and so I'll burn for 16. So I'm down to 4,000 and he's at 58. These are the life points that you might expect in the middle of a duel that's kind of grinding out, but this is at the beginning of my own turn and we're already this low in life points on either side. So I'm gonna use the Gizmek here kind of early. And I'm debating on whether or not I should turbo up into another Yugioh, but with those little resources that I do have, I'm going to not do that. Instead, I'm going to make the ding and then summon out the Fossil Dyna here as a bit of protection. And hopefully it's enough to like make him pass his turn. But of course, he opens the one of Widow Anchor. So that pretty much blows out my back this entire turn. Although I will give, A for effort, essentially, with how I was able to turn Gallus Dotscaper into the field that I have. I mean, granted, that Gallus is just kind of sitting there, but I needed to get it into play to be able to mill cards. I'll be able to load up my graveyard, get possible link fodder on board. Again, like I said, I was debating on linking into another Yugioh, but I wanted to at least be able to use the Block Dragon and the Gizmek to make ding for some sort of protection for my Fossil Dyna play that I was going to have to try to bank on, you know, hoping he doesn't have the one of out in his deck, but he did. And then, of course, resolving the Orchestrated Return, and then going up into the Greffer, and getting a whole ton of advantage over here. Speaking of cards like Greffer, I don't know if you guys have seen at this point the new Mech Knight Orcust monster. If you haven't, check out the Yugioh organization. I was going to make a video on it, but I figured I might as well just mention it here real quick. I cannot believe they've printed such an absurd card for this deck at this point. It really makes me worried that we're going to have another 4 months of Orcust running around until April. So, yeah. Oh boy, I don't know how I feel about them printing a card like that. Easy access to Ib, and then it's also a mathematician on steroids. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. But either way, getting back to the game, Galatea is out now with the Harpoorer on field. So probably going to see a Ding summon here. Of course, after the recycle effect of Galatea is going to be used. And then getting that orchestrated Babble out. It's probably a telltale sign that he's going to be linking away a Galatea. And try to set up some graveyard plays for next turn, but he does have to kind of worry about clearing some of the things on my field at this point. Saryuja could be a potential threat going forward, allowing me to get a free special summon, you know, during my next turn. So essentially give me sort of 2 normal summons. So he's going to go into Ding, send off my Ding, and then I have a bit of a ruling question here regarding Block Dragon getting a translation currently. I wanted to see whether or not if even Block Dragon being sent as a material would trigger his effect to search, but I kind of knew that it didn't, but I just wanted to double check to make sure, because I feel like one of my biggest flaws as a player is not asking judges for ruling questions that I'm unsure of and just taking the word of my opponent sometimes. I've definitely been guilty of being too passive when it comes to those things, so I just wanted to double check, even if though the ruling in my head was kind of obvious. Doesn't hurt to, of course, double check. He's going to go into battle phase, clear everything else, Fossil Dyna included, leaving me with just a Gallus and not much else to work with. So he's going to go into main phase 2 now and link off into, of course, IP Masquerena. Of course, with having the field spell set up and, you know, Symbol Skeleton, and now going for, I believe, Gizmek off this Foolish Burial. You can sort of see the writing on the wall at this point. You know, the god card known as Topological Zeroboros. You may have heard of him. Going to make my day a living nightmare. So, end phase, I'm going to try to retaliate here with a Gizmek Orochi, so I have some form of interruption during his next turn, or some form of removal. So, because I need to be able to bait out, essentially, this Zeroboros play. And keep in mind, I have 16 banished cards, plus a decent stack of banished cards from summoning Block Dragon and Gigantes and things like that. So, Zeroboros, when it does come out, is going to be absolutely massive. Just taking into account the 2 Gizmeks that I've done, you know, adding onto that with just even the summon of Gigantes. I don't know why some of the Gigantes here, I should have held it. I'm thinking, like, I can, like, try to force the IP play and, like, Orcust plays, you know, at once here by, you know, trying to crash in battle phase to clear the field spell, and then, you know, using the Gizmek here to try and clear a card. So Gizmek, of course, tries to activate and tries to clear the Galatea. He's going to go Chainlink 2 Galatea, Chainlink 3 IP, putting back the right cards, and then he's just going to go ahead and summon the Zeroboros, and I just, like, have no resources left at this point. I don't even have a Block Dragon to summon, because I had to banish a Block Dragon, I believe, one of the Block Dragons earlier in my first turn, and then I just did not have the resources to bring it out again, and just going to go ahead and scoop it up there. And hopefully I open better in game 2, which I definitely did. I opened Sekka's Light and Gallus, I believe. Ended up drawing a Tracker and another Sekka's Light, so drawing into another dead card there, which is always nice. I love drawing Sekka's Light off of Sekka's Light. Just an unfortunate coincidence at the end of the day, I suppose. And then immediately being forced to use the graveyard effect of Sekka's Light here to be able to, you know, try to fix my hand further. Summon the Gallus now, which is going to reveal a Jackalope again, much like we saw in game 1, and then use that Tracker here to go into Cherubini. Now, I did open the graph, and I believe a Block Dragon as well. So I wanted to get very easy access to Block Dragon. So at this point, I believe I opt to send the Rhino Warrior just to meet the 3 Earths requirement, because I don't even have that currently. And of course, he's going to bring down that Phantasme. And of course, I'm going to use the Cherubini now to dump the Rhino. And as I do that, of course, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys ever need any sleeves, some amazing tournament ready sleeves like the ones that I'm using, you can check out their website down in the description below, or that 2-player cloth playmat that I'm using. They've got that mat on their site and many other mats to choose from that are all absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend you guys check them out. And they also just came out with a new deck box too, which I just started using. It is absolutely fantastic. Dice tray on the bottom, and plenty of space for main extra inside and the top. Magnetically shuts. Absolutely impressed with that deck box. Absolutely amazing. Looks great. Feels great. Plenty of space. Very functional. So if you guys want to pick one of those up, I believe they're having a little promo right now where if you buy a deck box, you get a pack of sleeves free with it for a limited time. And they're only doing that on domestic orders. I don't think they're doing that on international. So if you guys wanted to get that deck box and also a free pack of sleeves with it, I highly recommend you guys check it out soon, because I don't know how long they'll be doing that offer for. But again, use that discount code WinterKills10 off to save 10% off on your entire order. So after sort of trying to navigate a very awkward opening of, having Graph and then Block Dragon, I decided to link those off for Cerberus. And then, of course, getting the searches off Block Dragon to follow up. And then, of course, summoning Seer off of the Graph. I'm still in a weird position here because I don't have another level 3 extender to make Dante with, which I would love to make. But I just don't have the means to do so. So I'm just going to summon Gigantes here. As much as I don't want to do it, I have to. And I'm going to go right into Saryuja. And banishing that Block Dragon hurts a lot. But I'm going to go right into Saryuja. And then using the Seer effect to revive Cherubini. And then, of course, Saryuja Chainlink 1. I'm going to put back some cards that I don't want. One being Lancia. I believe one being that copy of O-Lion, which I definitely do not want in my hand at this point. I guess it's kind of the same thing as Dotscaper, but like I'd rather just have Dotscaper. Now right here is something pretty important my Twitch chat pointed out to me. My opponent cuts the deck after I place the bottom 3 cards of Saryuja at the bottom of my deck, which he was absolutely not supposed to be able to do right there. I wasn't paying too much attention. I was too deep in thought of trying to how to fix the board state that I have. And it completely ends up actually screwing over my draws right here as I draw into Nessie and I believe Sekka's Light and the O-Lion again, which are cards that I stacked previously. So he cut my deck there on accident. I didn't catch it. I don't think he realized what he was doing, and it's just unfortunate. Again, these things, they happen sometimes, and I have to use the Jackalope here. And unfortunately hits the Lancia, but what do I draw right off of the Jackalope? Another Lancia. I was literally just trying to hope to draw, like, literally any extender at this point. I don't even know what I was trying to draw for, actually. I probably should have stopped earlier and made a more minimal board, but I decided to keep going, so I just used Saryuja now to summon out the Fossil Dyna. Both of these games, I had to try and play through such absolutely terrible hands, and try to make something, like, literally anything work. And I guess I got lucky there then. I drew into another Lancia, so I shotgun the Lancia during a standby phase. And he has, like, a couple striker spells in hand right now. I believe he has Engage and Afterburners, as well as Crescendo. He's got this Phantasme, so he's going to go ahead and crash the Phantasme, actually, into the Saryuja. He'll take another 400, dropping him down to 7. Thanks to the earlier Gallus, making him take 6. And now he's going to Afterburn on the Fossil Dyna. Like, if I would have been able to at least get, like, Block Dragon on the field, or a Nat Beast, like, I was just hoping I'd mill. I would hope I'd be able to at least get, like, a Dante going, but I just couldn't. Like, that was the most unfortunate thing. Like, I wasn't able to make Dante either of these games. Like, that's how bad it was. So he's going to go Hornet Drones, and here I think the next move would just be to go into Kagari to add back the Engage. But I believe he ends up making a misplay here regarding the Striker engine, and he makes, like, Shizuku here. I guess it's because he wanted to make the double Engage draw here live. But I guess you could have easily just Kagari to add back Engage and then use your other Engage and had, like, sort of the same outcome, I suppose. But regardless, still pretty much achieving the same thing here, but just had to sort of waste a Shizuku in the process. So grabbing Widow Anchor, of course, and going to slap down that other copy of Engage. Very engaging duel at this point. You guys have heard that joke probably way too many times than you would like to admit. But that is just the format we are in. We've been engaging since early 2018. And here we are into early 2020. Still still engaging. I hope you guys have stayed engaged this entire, what seems to be the longest running format of Master Rule 4 at this point. But I digress. Now he's going to summon Pankratops of all things. So just currently trying to tear into my field even further. He did lose his battle phase, which I guess is the only positive thing I have going into this. He's going to normal Brass Bombard and link that off with the Kagari into a Galatea. And he cannot banish here, which again is lucky enough for me that I at least have something to slow him down from having an even better turn. Because he does have an Orcust Nightmare in his hand, so if he could use that Bombard right now, I'd be in a absolutely way worse off position. So he's going to set 3, and then he's going to main phase 2 still, use the Pank to clear the Saryuja, not giving me the option for a free special summon. I mean, I guess he could have like held on to the Pankratops for a play that I would have had during my turn. But I believe my next move here is to summon a Nightmare Phoenix, because I'm just trying to pick into his back row here like any way that I can. And I believe I try to hit the center back row. And he's going to use that Widow Anchor again to negate and steal the Phoenix until the end of the turn. But now I'm going to be able to summon Block Dragon by banishing Dinah, Saryuja, and Scaper. Scaper will summon itself out using its other of its 2 effects. Its other of 2 once per turn and once per duel effects. And then I'm going to follow up with the Gizmek, and he has the climax for that, which is very unfortunate. And I was hoping I'd be at least able to make some sort of a comeback there. But not the case, unfortunately. When we went to battle phase and run over the Galatea, which I believe he also had placed his Phoenix in the wrong position, as he told me mid-game. But again, even it looks like I made some sort of comeback. He is no longer under the effects of Lancia going into his next turn, and he has a Bombard Engrave, and all he needs is one other card to go along with that, and he's going to be able to start comboing again into my field of like literally 0 interaction. At least he also has an Armageddon Knight in hand as well, so it's going to start to be a really good turn. He's going to use that to, I believe, either dump Harp or Symbol Skeleton here, but he does have a Nightmare in hand, so the Nightmare and the Harp can sort of split the workload here. Now he's going to use that Brass Bombard to summon out the Nightmare from hand. And going to continue to do Orcust shenanigans. And at this point, I really don't have much else working for me. The only thing I'm hoping, like, I was hoping at that point in that previous turn that I'm able to make like Boral Sword or something. But like he took the Phoenix, which I was hoping like he wouldn't take the Phoenix for some reason, even though like there was no reason for him not to. I was kind of hoping like maybe he won't take the Phoenix, and then like I can follow up and make a Boral Sword with Gizmek, and like, or get like, you know, Boral Sword with Block Dragon, and just try to steal the game right there really quickly. But of course, I mean, he hard opened the climax, so there was no like way I was gonna like supposed to 100% know that he was gonna have that. And then he uses Orcust Nightmare here to boost actually Block Dragon, interestingly enough. And I think he ends up sending Gizmek Orochi here, which is going to boost that Block Dragon by 800, putting it to 33. Which I suppose he was doing to make it so his Boral Sword would be a bit stronger. And then speaking of the Gizmek, there it is. So of course, right now, if you are the Orcust player, though, you are trying to absolutely secure a game with the 2 attack position monsters that I do have. And of course, Boral Sword does come to mind. And I believe he ends up using the Galatea here to get not early access, but easy access rather to that Babel. This is one key piece he is missing right now, of course, wanting to make all of his Orcust monsters quick effects. So you're going to shuffle back that Nightmare and go for the Babel right then and there. And then going to link off now into the one and only Boral Sword himself, the trusty Steed. And I believe at this point is going to use Symbol for Galatea. And then I believe end up linking, or not linking, but Ixi summoning into the Dingirsu. Now at this point, he takes a moment to sort of decide on what he's going to send here. Not wanting to send the incorrect target, but I believe it still would have been correct here, absolutely, to send the Dotscaper, because sending the Nightmare Phoenix, leaves you with one less monster to do damage through. And since he's already exhausted Gizmek, and he's already exhausted Symbol Skeleton this turn, he doesn't really have any other ways to put extra damage on board. But either way, regardless, clearing my field will leave me top decking, which is, just enough in most cases. So he'll use Dingirsu to send the Phoenix, and then Battle Phase cut into the Block Dragon at 3,300 thanks to the Nightmare. And that Boral Sword is actually at 4,650 now. So clear the defense position Dotscaper and swing him for 4,650, which technically isn't enough per game. But he's got the Nibiru in hand, and I'm top decking, and I don't even have enough Earths in grave, I believe, to summon Block Dragon next turn. And even if I do, I'm just delaying the inevitable. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoop it up there. There's still a few important things to be said, though, about this game. It might have been a 2-0 on behalf of Orcust. But I still think this shows, to some extent, the versatility of Block Dragon BA. And despite how bad I opened game 1, was still able to end on a field that might be enough to take some games off of some decks. And could have actually won me that game had he not opened that one of Widow Anchor. He had Phantasme to crash, but again, I had Dingirsu to protect. So it wouldn't have mattered. Even if I would have left the Phantasme on his field, trying to foresight that a lot. Maybe he's playing Striker. If I leave this here, I'll have to clear it in the battle phase. He'll still have a way to make Widow Anchor live at the end of the day. But in game 2, I opened decent. Didn't have enough extenders to even get to a Dante, but still trying to make something work, and maybe with better draws, could have ended on an actual normal field with Nat Beast and Saryuja and Ding and Fossil Dine and all that stuff. But yeah, still trying to show the versatility that Block Dragon BA has. Even if you don't open the optimal openings all the time, it can definitely still make plays on its own, still being sort of a monster mash graveyard deck, and taking advantage of cards like Curious and Saryuja whenever you can. So either way, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to use my affiliate link to TCG Player. Check out Imperium Duelist. Follow me on Twitch. Join Discord. Links to that all down in the description below. And yeah, hope you guys are having a good one. Thanks for watching. As always, WinnerKill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.